Bloodshed and devastation entered the bones of the faggots and their friends.
Bloodshed and devastation entered the bones of the faggots and their friends, and drove the memory of harmony away.
Faggots and Their Friends Between Revolutions. It's a book by Larry Mitchell and Ned Asta. I have Philip Venables, the composer, and the director Ted Huffman with me here on Zoom.
Hi, I'm Philip. I'm a composer and the composer of Faggots and Their Friends, working with Ted, who wrote it and directed it.
I'm Ted. I'm an opera director mostly, and sometimes a writer and director, and mostly with Philip in that case. And yeah, this is definitely a kind of a dream project, something that we talked about for a long time, and really excited for it to come to Amsterdam.
And you've also worked before in Amsterdam?
We did Dennis and Katja, which is the piece that we made before the Faggots and Their Friends. And I've done a couple of other projects with the Opera House with their Young Artist program.
I did something some years ago with Asko Schoenberg, actually in the muziekale, and then, as Ted said, working together on Denise and Katja in the Opera House.
How did you get in contact with the Holland Festival?
I think it came through Manchester Festival Factory International, where we first made the piece last year. And through Jochen Falkenberg, who programs the music side of the Holland Festival. They came on board as a co-producer, which we were really happy about.
Ted, how did you find the book, The Faggots and Their Friends?
That's an easy answer. So Phil introduced me to the book, and this was back when the book was out of print and had been out of print for I don't know, many years, 20 years or something. And so, but Phil had a PDF that was being passed around. So he sent it to me and said, yeah, I think you'll really like this. And I did. Yeah.
Okay, and then Philip, how did you find the book or the PDF?
Well, I was given it by some friends in San Francisco in, I think, 2013. And I can't remember why they gave it to me. They probably just thought I would like it. And it was like a core text kind of thing for queers in the Bay Area, particularly. And then I read the PDF and I thought, wow.
What triggered you in the book? What made you think, I have to bring this to the theater?
I think it's that the book presents such an incredible imagination of how to view the world, and it's in this way that manages to be very familiar and feel like a bedtime story and very comforting, but at the same time super radical, and it for me combines so many things that I think I was looking for in like my own thinking and my own life, actually, about like how to connect with community, how to wrestle with history and sexuality, and all of these questions that are swirling in together. And another thing I love about the book is how it tries to tackle so many things at once. It tackles, in a way, the climate crisis, although that wasn't called that at the time. It tackles racism. It tackles misogyny, homophobia, gentrification, like war. So it manages in a simple way to address really complex ideas, and so I found it extraordinary for that reason. The tone of it really lends itself to something to go on the stage, because it's been boiled down to this very beautiful but also imagination stirring text.
And for people who don't know anything about the book, in 3 sentences, how would you describe the book?
It's incredibly fun, incredibly brutal, and full of love, I think. The 3 kind of adjectives I'd use to describe it. As Ted said, it takes this epic tale of the history of civilization, of capitalism, patriarchy, imperialism, and it boils it down to this gorgeous, almost childlike bedtime story that like sees this colorful, wonderful world full of violence, but it sees it from the eyes of the faggots.
And we are still not free.
It's been a long time since the last revolutions, and the faggots and their friends are still not free.
I continue with the question because we have a conservative wind blowing in the world at the moment. People fall for the conservative narrative. What can we learn from this book?
For me, it's been inspirational, this book, in learning how to contextualize those type of conservative or fascist or neoliberal movements, how to acknowledge them for what they are, and not to build them up in my own mind as something other than you know, what they are, which are usually very petty and you know, destructive. It's tempting to lose your own footing when you think about these topics, and when you're confronted with sort of a tide of politics that feels like it's going against what you really believe. And the book has a way of inspiring people to come together and to you know, to really share the burdens, so that no one group is trying to shoulder all of those burdens at once. And I think that's a very strong and beautiful message.
And Philip, what elements did you take out of it? How did it resonate in your music?
I think a key line for us in kind of making this piece, a key line in the book and in our piece, is the Faggots and Their Friends love to perform for each other, and for them, performing is a way of telling stories, is a way of processing their trauma, but also a way of kind of constructing a future. So we use this idea of like dressing up and playing on stage to tell each other stories and to tell the audience these stories. And to do that, we use all sorts of different games on stage, and a lot of the time that's musical games. So we're borrowing lots of different genres, lots of kind of pseudo pastiche, kind of mixing lots of different kind of known and recognizable ingredients, hopefully in new ways. And these kind of musical genres and styles are in a way like costumes as well on stage that we can kind of put on to tell a particular scene or a particular story.
You have to go
it's
beyond your own borders.
Exactly. It's very eclectic. Like some kind of like lounge bossa nova. There's a kind of techno party scene. Yeah, a lot of kind of like folk singer-songwriter kind of baroque-ish ballads, if you like. And then there's big, more energetic ensemble numbers and stuff like that. So it's pretty varied.
And Ted, why should people come to the Muziekgebouw and see the show?
Yeah, well, because there are only two performances, so if you miss it, you're screwed. I think that one of the beautiful things that we've made is that it's become an ensemble piece. So it was really made with the people who are in our cast. So people who can play multiple instruments, who can dance and play an instrument, who can, you know, sing and, you know, so in some ways it's a very beautiful thing, which will also be very hard to reproduce in future times. So yeah, so it's a rare jewel.
There's another thing why you have to come is there's an after party and a queer speed dating and unapologetic night out. What do you expect from that?
Yeah, I'm absolutely going to wander around there after our show. I think it sounds like a lot of fun. As far as I understand, there's all sorts, it's kind of being hosted, and there are some performances by partly by the cast of Faggots and Their Friends, and also by a local queer chorus and some DJs and the speed dating as well. So yeah, I'm going to go down and get myself a date. I think it's like a kind of a real galvanizing audience experience of togetherness. Like it really feels like a kind of journey you go on together, I think. Yeah, that's been our experiences with the audiences that we've played to already. It feels like the room is full of love.
Yeah, and it's joyous and it's humorous. It's like coming to a kind of party almost more than a performance. It's really like been a dream to be included in the Holland Festival. Like I've been coming to see shows there for a very long time, longer than I want to admit. So I'm yeah, really excited to come and participate.
Absolutely.
Now we're looking forward to see you on the June 13 and 14 in the Muziekgebouw. The Faggots and Their Friends Between Revolutions. Good luck with the preparations and the traveling, and welcome to Amsterdam. Or
Thanks very
Thank
much.
you.
Really, really nice to speak to you.